Hey you guys, C here. Thank you so much for clicking to join me in today's video. Now, transforming the shed into a she shed or my sewing studio or just a personal space to rest, relax, get some solitude, it's been a work in progress. I've been working on this space for about 3 years now, a little over 3 years, and I think I'm almost there in everything that I want to accomplish in this space. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be tackling the infamous workbench, as well as creating an accent wall and tackling my black fridge because I don't like that aesthetic, okay? I'll be using contact paper, so this is a very simple, very quick, and very affordable DIY, and I'm hoping I'm pleased with the results. Now, before we get to that, I want to share with you some things that I've taken care of semi-off camera, some things that I've already taken care of before I apply the contact paper to various areas here in the she shed, and that is underneath the workbench. So I was originally going to take the peel and stick wallpaper for this accent wall. I was going to take it from ceiling to floor, and that was because since I work with these containers a lot, now that I'm sewing a lot more, I go in and out of these bins, pulling them from up under the workbench and pushing them back, that I'm constantly getting marks on the wall. I've touched up the wall with the paint several times. It doesn't matter. It's still going to get rubbed up again, scratched up. So I was going to go ahead and take that peel and stick just to protect that wall and prevent me from having to keep painting that area. I decided that I didn't want to do the peel and stick all the way down because not only did I just not want to do the work, but I just didn't want it to be overpowering in such a small space. Instead, I picked up some furniture felt pads and I put those furniture felt pads on my containers. So now when I'm pushing my bins back up under the workbench, I don't have to worry about them scratching or rubbing up against my wall because now they're protected with that felt. I think it's gonna work. I've had them installed for about 2 weeks now, and so far so good. But of course, this is more of a long-term thing, so I probably won't see much of a difference for another few months or so. Regardless of how it turns out, I'll be sure to share it with you just in case that's something that you could use in your space. In addition to the furniture felt pads, I went ahead and purchased one more bookcase to house my patterns. Now, I brought the first bookcase in from the house. We no longer had a need for it. I didn't want to trash it, and I didn't want it to just collect dust in my garage. So I brought it out in the shed because I felt like any form of storage would help out, especially that vertical storage. Making use of my vertical space here in the shed is incredibly important. The bookcase wasn't even in here 3 weeks before I found a use for it. I did get a bit pattern happy with some sales, and so I racked up more than I had anticipated, overflowed that bookcase, so I had to purchase another bookcase. Fortunately, it was only about $21 on Amazon. Got that, put that together, and so now it's housing all of my patterns. I hate to say that I got pattern happy again with the recent 99-cent New Look patterns, and so both bookcases are looking a little thick now. But it's crafting, okay? We spare no expense for crafting, okay? So the furniture felt pads as well as the bookcase are the two new additions or upgrades I've made to this space. Now let's go ahead and tackle the wall, the workbench, and the fridge. Now, as I previously mentioned, I did purchase the peel and stick wallpaper and the contact paper from Amazon.com. I have used peel and stick wallpaper before. I do have experience with that. I wallpapered my daughter and my middle son's room. So I have a couple things that I already found useful for that, as well as an X-Acto knife. For the workbench, I picked up a couple more things. We'll get into this in just a second. But for the workbench, I picked up this faux wood wallpaper. I think it's like a imitation of pine. It's very light. I wanted to go light, not only because the workbench is light, but because I don't want to darken up my space. I love that it's bright and airy. And then for the wall, I decided to go floral. I definitely wanted to pick up on the pinks. So you got a darker pink, a lighter pink, as well as a couple more natural colors. I love yellow and green, flowers, of course. So I think this wallpaper truly embodies me. And I think it's going to be a nice bright addition to the top of the wall. And then for the fridge, I just picked up a basic white contact paper. Now, my only concern with this project is the adhesion of the contact paper on the plywood of the workbench. or NDF. What is this? I think it's, I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm not sure of the adhesion, so I picked up a contact cement. I looked it up. This actually should work pretty well. I just picked up a 3-ounce can to see how this goes. This is interior as well as exterior use. It's permanent bond on contact. And then I picked up I think this is a 4-inch roller, just to really rub it down and make sure I get a nice good seal. I'm going to attach the peel and stick to the workbench and then putting my clear vinyl covers on top of that. And that's because this material can still get scratched up and messed up when I'm sewing or crafting, and so I really like this vinyl cover to protect my surface. Another concern though is you can see already, I don't know if it's visible on camera, but you can see already how dirty it is. I feel like this dirt is going to be noticeable on the contact paper. And it's going to be a lot to clean this off, especially since this has been sitting on here for like 3 years now. So I really don't know if I want to go through the hassle of cleaning this off. And I definitely don't want to be wasteful and repurchase it, but I definitely don't want to see the dirt that's on the bottom of the vinyl reflected in the contact paper. I don't want to see that at all. That kind of defeats the purpose of even upgrading it. So I have to clean this really good with some soap and water, and I think just to ease my mind it might be necessary, so I'll probably take this in the house when I leave the shed and do that, but then go ahead and at least start applying the wallpaper. So the first task I'm going to do, and the most dreaded task, is take everything off the wall, apply the peel and stick wallpaper first, and then I'll get to the workbench, and then I'll finish things off with the fridge. Of course I'm going to do a time lapse, but I'm going to keep you up to date in between events, okay? It's a beautiful day. The door is open. The bees are buzzing. Butterflies are flying around. I'm going to turn my AC back on, turn on some tunes, and I'll check in with you guys in just a bit. Checking in, and I have finished the wall and I love it. I'm so happy with it. The print is just spot on. The pinks match up so perfectly. It's me. It really is. The floral, the colors, it's bold yet subtle. I am really happy with this. Now, I did not match up the prints. That doesn't bother me at all. I had no intention on matching up the prints anyway. I already know how time consuming that could be. I also want to do this as affordably as possible, which means I would have to have gotten way more rolls than I did. I have so much that goes on this wall that it doesn't bother me that the prints are not matching up. It's kind of going to be camouflage. So I'm really happy about that. I'm going to put everything back on the wall now, and then I'm going to get started with the workbench. I'm excited. I think the prints are going to line up perfectly. So if so, this is definitely going to be one of those moments where ordering online worked out for me, okay? All right, I'll check in with you guys in just a second. guys checking in. So the wall is restored to how it was originally. And so now I'm gonna move on to the workbench. I have my 2 vinyl covers. I'm gonna go ahead and take those off, take them in the house and give them a nice wash and let them air dry. I want to give them a nice soapy wash so I can get this dirt, dust, debris, everything off the bottom of the cover in particular, because I don't want all this gunk and adhesive visible on the contact paper. The contact paper is pretty light and all the dirt is going to be very visible. So I want to clean these up as best as I can and reuse them. I don't want to purchase new ones. So I'm going to go ahead and take those in the house when I leave tonight. But as far as the contact paper goes, I'm going to put a little bit of contact cement on the wood beforehand and then put on the contact paper and then rub my 4-inch roller over that, get a nice good adhesion. I don't think I have enough contact cement, so I'm going to be using it sparingly. The space that I'm covering is roughly 12 feet long by 2 feet wide. All right, let's get into it. Enough. I am a roll short. My math was spot on with the wall, that if I would have extended the wallpaper to the floor, I would have had enough, because I have 4 rolls of the wallpaper that I'm going to be returning. I thought my math was spot on with the workbench, and it's not. I'm a roll short. So I have enough to do the back half of the workbench, but I'm still short. It's looking like a 1.5 foot wide space, as well as the front of the workbench. So I still have some wood that would not be covered. So I need to order 1 more roll of this. But then I'm also noticing this product was not necessary. Now, of course, the adhesion is not the best, but where I applied the contact cement, it's now buckling. And I don't like it. It's very noticeable. I'm glad that I didn't use a lot of it, because had I used it all over here, which this would not have gone very far at all. This was unnecessary purchase. Had I used it all, I would have been so irritated, more irritated than I am now. So because I need to order another roll, I feel like I might as well cut this off, because this is where I am the most. Any spot on the workbench, this is where I am the most, because this is where my sewing machines are. So this is where I sit often. So part of me just wants to cut this and discard this part, because I don't like it. Alright, so not gonna get defeated. Not gonna get defeated. This is not a marathon. I have time to finish this. Of course, I would have loved to have gotten it done tonight, but it's okay. I'm going to apply the roll that I have, order another one. I hope that it is still available. Order another one, and I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the fridge. And I am definitely gonna go ahead and discard this part. I don't like that at all. Why can't DIYs just go so seamless? Alright, I'll touch base in a bit.
Should
with how the fridge is looking. So I put the white contact paper up there, and the white is just stark white. It's bright. It's not subtle at all. But in addition, I knew that the handle for the fridge was going to be challenging. The white just highlights the imperfections. And I just don't like it. So I have plenty of the wallpaper fabric left. So what I'm going to do is get one of the rolls that I was going to return. Just go ahead and get it. And I'm going to do the wallpaper on the front of the fridge, and then it'll be black everywhere else. So the wallpaper already has some black in it. So I think that'll just tie it in so that the black won't be so striking and won't bother me as much. And I hope that works out. At this point, I'm just frustrated. I want to get it done. I don't know why I'm rushing to get it done. There's no time frame. There's no timeline. It's just, it already takes so much time to get out here and dedicate a lot of time in this space that I plan to get certain tasks accomplished. And when I don't, it's like, oh my God, now when am I gonna find the time to come back out here and get this done? So that's why I'm just getting frustrated. So I'm gonna take this contact paper off, go ahead and trash that, wipe the adhesive off, and then put the wallpaper on the front. And maybe we'll have better success with that. Put you back on tripod. So the peel and stick wallpaper on the fridge was definitely successful. I really like how this looks. I left the handle untouched because it's just shaped weird. So I'm really happy about that. That turned out pretty good. That's boosted my spirits. And so now I'm just going to wait for the contact paper to finish the Workbench to come in the mail from Amazon, and we will be all done with this DIY. Hey guys, so it's been about a week since we last spoke. The contact paper to finish the Workbench arrived a few days ago. I did take my vinyl covers into the house and gave them a good bath. Now, it was a bit challenging. I put them in the bathtub in some soapy water. I used Dawn dish soap. Because of the length, it was pretty daunting trying to clean them efficiently. So bringing them back in after they've dried, I can see some areas that need more help. In particular, the paint and the permanent markers. Those have left stains, as well as some adhesive that the soap and water did not take off. So I'm gonna try some Goo Gone on the adhesive, see if that works, and then I'm gonna try some rubbing alcohol to see if that will help get the paint and the permanent marker stains off. First impressions though, having the vinyl cover on top of the contact paper, the light is bouncing off of it heavily. Now the light would bounce off of the vinyl covers on the traditional plywood, but not so much. So now it's got a heavier glare to it. I'm already concerned about the fluorescent lighting when I'm in here sewing or crafting. I really don't want to be concerned about the glare coming from the Workbench too, but I'm going to see it through. I'm going to finish applying the contact paper, getting the covers cleaned off, getting them both applied, and see how I feel about it then. My mind may change, but I knew going in that this was not going to be a permanent solution. It would really just be an aesthetic solution. So I got that. Now I have two L-shaped corner shelves here. It came as a pack of 3. I'm gonna go ahead and install the third one. These shelves are getting really crowded and pretty heavy. When I go to reach for something, something else topples over. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the third shelf. That means that my pink crafting storage container that was right here, it has now been relocated under the Workbench, which means it has taken the place of my sewing machine covers. I never use those sewing machine covers. They collect dust. So I went ahead and relocated those to the garage just to ease up the clutter and keep the space still looking pretty spacious. Now, the only other thing that I've been sourcing is a wall clock for this area. When I am in here, I do lose track of time. So I can see what time it is just so that I can be aware of the outside world. You know, my kids and my husband in the house, or preparing for work the next day. It would be nice to have something I could just look right up. Now, of course, I set alarms on my phone. I even have a timer in here that I set when I want to spend a certain amount of time in here or a certain amount of time on a project. But overall, when I come in here, I don't have my phone. My phone is not near me. It is in eyesight, so if I see a flash, I can see very quickly if my husband is texting me. Maybe there's a question, or my parents or something like that. But other than that, I don't have my phone near me. I don't want it near me. And unapologetically, I don't want it near me. I don't want to be bothered with it. It is a distraction for me. And so when I'm in this space, I really want to zone out. And honestly, I just want to forget about what's going on outside the doors. I just really want to tune in and focus on me for that moment. So a wall clock would be great. I'm having a hard time finding one that's the right size. I don't need it grandiose. I also want the right color. I want it to fit my aesthetic. So I've had a hard, and it definitely needs to be affordable too. So I've been having a hard time finding that. I would love to be able to find it to seal the deal in this space, but regardless. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish applying the contact paper, cleaning off the vinyl plastic covers, installing those on the workbench, putting up the L-shaped corner rack, and then it'll be time for a grand reveal and my final thoughts. I'm excited. I'm actually really ready to get this over with. So let's go. guys, that is it for today's video. That is my she shed refresh. A nice, quick, easy, and affordable DIY with just some contact paper to really transform the space, and I'm incredibly happy with the results. Now, I know I was a bit concerned about the workbench and the light reflecting off of the contact paper, but you know what? Now that I have my supplies on it, it's not that bad. Now, of course, this is not a permanent solution for the workbench, but it is a nice aesthetic solution for now, and I'm content with it. I love the peel and stick wallpaper on the walls. I am so thrilled with that. I love the color and the vibrancy that it brings into the space. I also like it on my refrigerator. And so now my black refrigerator is now pretty fun and colorful as well. Thank you for tuning in as I shared. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now that everything is back in place, I can get back to sewing. So if you're curious on what I'm sewing next, definitely make sure that you are subscribed and you come back next week. As always, I love you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.